Friends, hello, good morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning. So let us continue the life cycle of Wuchereria bancrofti. So Wuchereria bancrofti, yesterday we have given the some important structural features. If you want, let us go back to the next page, back page. There, these differences we have given: shorter, longer, curved hook-like structure, posterior end and straight posterior end. Posterior end has a cloaca which has copulatory spicules. A pair of copulatory spicules are present, here absent. And anus is present in the straight posterior end of the females. Male genital opening lies in the cloaca. Female genital opening lies from 1/3 of the mouth. So both are creamy colored. Males and females are both are creamy white colored, living in the lymph vessels. The color of the in the external characters, some common characters are there. Both are creamy white colored. Okay, and these are elongated and cylindrical. So this is also common to all nematodes, not only Ascaris and Wuchereria, common to all nematodes. That's why they are called threadworms. Nematoda means thread, elongated and cylindrical. Both are creamy white colored. They live in coiled condition. Always they live in a coiled condition. Both male and female live in coiled condition. They are inseparable. They are in close contact. Unlike Ascaris, they live in coiled condition. So these points also should be added in the general characters. Mouth lies at the anterior end without lips. So already I think here some characters are given. So their mouth is there, mouth with lips, chitinous lips. In the Ascaris lumbricoides, mouth with uh, 3 chitinous lips. Here mouth without lips. Here lips are absent. Their copulatory spicules are equal. These copulatory spicules are unequal. Copulatory spicules are present in the male Wuchereria bancrofti. So these characters we have completed today, total characters. Now let us enter into the life cycle of Wuchereria bancrofti. Life cycle takes place in two hosts, in man and mosquito. Life cycle of Wuchereria, simply you can keep the heading life cycle of Wuchereria. In the bracket you write down filarial worm, commonly known as filarial worm. Common name of Wuchereria bancrofti because it causes the filariasis, hence common name is filarial worm. So 8 marks question, general structure and life cycle both you should write down for the 8 marks question. This is the last 8 marks question in the 6th unit, that is biology in human welfare. So in man, how it occurs, let us see. Life cycle of Wuchereria bancrofti in man, let us take. Then mosquito. So in man, in lymph vessels it lives. Copulation takes place in lymph vessels. Copulation occurs. In the case of Ascaris lumbricoides, where the copulation occurs? Tell me. Do you, any one of you remember? There it, yes, in that there is a small intestine in which the copulation takes place. Here copulation occurs in the lymph vessels. According to location, we can easily imagine. Okay, Ascaris lives in the small intestine of man and Wuchereria lives in the lymph vessels of man. So that's why here lymph vessels it occurs in. So it is ovoviviparous, means along with eggshell, the embryo also releases. Hence it is ovoviviparous. Ovoviviparous only, that is Wuchereria bancrofti. Another important characteristic feature of the Wuchereria bancrofti. In case of NEET book, it is given viviparous because directly larvae are released from the females. But in case of Ascaris, females release eggs, 2 lakhs eggs per day. That's why oviparous they are. These are ovoviviparous because the larva is covered with eggshell, sheathed larva. That's why it is ovoviviparous. Remnants of egg shell is also encircle the larva, surrounding the larva. Present it is. That is why it is called ovoviviparous. So copulation occurs in lymph vessels. It is ovoviviparous. Ovoviviparous means liberation of embryo. Liberation of embryo with eggshell, with embryo covered by sheath. That sheath is called eggshell, modified eggshell. Covered by sheath. In the bracket you write down modified eggshell. This is also so many times it is asked. The sheath of the microfilaria larva. So liberation of embryo. Embryo in the sense it is not embryo. Liberation of larva. Liberation of larva covered by sheath. That is nothing but modified eggshell. I draw the diagram also, you can understand. That larva is called microfilaria. The larva of Ascaris lumbricoides is rhabditiform larva. The larva of Wuchereria is known as microfilaria. So remember this, these two larval forms try to remember. Microfilaria is the larva of Wuchereria bancrofti. Rhabditiform is the larva of Ascaris lumbricoides. First stage rhabditiform, second stage rhabditiform, like that, so on and so forth. This is first stage microfilaria. So this larva is sheathed larva. This is enclosed by sheath like this. This is a sheath in which the larval form is there. This is the sheath, and now we can represent in colors also. This is originally larva. Brick red colored line is there. This is larva originally. That black line, black enclosure is there, which is sheath of the larva. Hence, microfilaria is a sheathed larva. It is a sheathed larva. As long as it is in the sheath, we should not consider it as a larva because it cannot feed on any substances. That's why when the embryo starts feeding, then only you can say it is larva. Otherwise, you should not call it larva. So these are all somatic cells all over the body wall. These somatic cells are present. Of course, diagram labeling is not given, details are not given. But let us take the details here. These structural aspects of larva you must understand. And in front there is a nerve ring. Here nerve ring is present, and excretory cell also present. Urinary bladder is also present. Excretory cell is also present. A stylet is present in front. A needle-like structure, stylet is present. And here germ cells are, giant germ cells are also present. And this is an alimentary canal, pharynx, esophagus, and gradually this duct opens here as an anus. As a anus. This is alimentary canal. So now let us take the labeling. The sheath of the larva is nothing but eggshell. This is stylet. The anterior end is present for the penetration of lymph vessels and blood vessels, and this is pharynx, muscular pharynx. Muscular pharynx is a characteristic feature of the alimentary canal of all nematodes. This is a nerve ring. Of course, incompletely developed these are all. Excretory bladder or excretory cell, you can also say excretory cell. And these are somatic cells. All these are somatic cells. And alimentary canal. Germ cells. Further tissues are developed from these germ cells, all these 4 germ cells. And this is anus. This is microfilaria larva, detailed structure of the microfilaria larva. Now let us continue the characteristics of the larva. So microfilaria larva is measurement is 0.2 to 0.3 millimeters. If you want in microns, 200 to 300 microns. 200 to 300 microns means 1 micron is equal to 1 by 1000th millimeter. So that's why you multiply like this, 1 by 1000th millimeter, 1 micron is equal to 1 by 1000th into 3, 1 by 1000 means 0.01 into 300, that comes to 0.3. So 0.2 to 0.3 millimeters if you want, that is given only in the book. But it is added 200 in microns. If it is asked, we must answer this 200 to 300 microns. So in daytime, it lives in the deeper blood vessels. Microfilaria larva lives in deeper blood vessels. So these are released, liberation of larvae covered by sheath into lymph, because it lives in the lymph vessels. That's why into lymph. Along with lymph circulation, it goes to the, because the stylet helps a lot. With the help of stylet, it moves towards the blood vessels. So it lives in deeper blood vessel in daytime. That should be added. Daytime should be added. In deeper and deepest blood vessels in daytime. In night time, during night time, they come to the peripheral circulation of the blood. They move to the larvae move to the peripheral circulation. Peripheral blood circulation means surface. See, all these veins are there. Just see your hand, upper blue colored veins are there, you know. That is peripheral circulation. Move to the peripheral circulation of blood or peripheral blood circulation. So in the peripheral blood circulation, at what time they move, you know, between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. This time should be noted down. 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. means night 10 p.m. and early hours of the day 4 a.m. moves in between these hours only. Why? You know, it is a blood meal of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes will come only at that time when we retire to bed. When we go to sleep on the bed after 10 o'clock, the mosquitoes are ready to bite and suck our blood. So that is the blood meal time of mosquitoes. That's why they move. Parasites are very smart. They are very intelligent. So as to enter into the secondary host. Secondary host of Wuchereria bancrofti already you know. Secondary host is, what is? Secondary host of Wuchereria bancrofti is female Culex mosquito. Female Culex mosquito. So as to enter into the mosquito, move so as to enter into mosquito. That is the reason. Which is a secondary host. Enter into mosquito. This period is called nocturnal periodicity. This period is known as characteristic feature of the microfilaria larva. This period is referred to as nocturnal periodicity. This is given for 2 marks also. So nocturnal periodicity should be underlined. Nocturnal means night time. periodicity means night period. Night period, it moves in the peripheral circulation of blood. That's why it is called nocturnal periodicity. In the bracket, you write down 2 marks question. Okay. So this is the microfilarian larva. So within 70 days, it has to reach the mosquito. Otherwise, they will die. So lifespan of larva is 70 days. Lifespan is 70 days. Larval form lives only up to 70 days. Within 70 days, they have to reach mosquito within that period. Otherwise, they will die. They have to enter the secondary host. Enter the mosquito. Otherwise, they will die. This is the life cycle in man. Mosquito. Otherwise, they die. That also you should add, because lifespan is short period. After 70 days, they will be no more. So otherwise, they die. This is in man. Like that you put a heading. Now turn the page in mosquito. In female Culex mosquito, these infected patient's blood sucked by mosquitoes during the blood meal. So when the mosquitoes suck the blood of, when the mosquitoes suck the blood of patient, filarial patient, that is malarial patient, Anopheles mosquito, suck the blood of filarial patient with larvae, these larvae enter into the gut of mosquito along with blood. Enter into the gut of mosquito. So here one thing happens. 2 to 6 hours after infection, you should underline this point. 2 to 6 hours after infection means after the entry of microfilaria into the gut of mosquito. So 2 to 6 hours after infection, what happens, you know, the larva loses its sheath. Larva sheds off its sheath. Its sheath where, you know, that location also clearly should specify in the midgut. The larva loses its sheath in the midgut. Midgut region means after the crop, that midgut is there. You should mention this midgut. So after midgut, what it reaches? Let us take this midgut. From midgut, it enters into the course of journey I am giving you here in the mosquito. Midgut enters into hemocoel. What is hemocoel? Already I told you. Hemocoel is a body cavity filled with blood of both arthropod and mollusca. So mosquitoes are arthropods. That's why midgut. From midgut, larvae enter into hemocoel. From hemocoel, they enter into hemolymph. In the hemocoel, anyhow, hemolymph is there. The blood of all insects is called hemolymph, including cockroach, our type study. From hemolymph, they reach the thoracic muscles. So body is divided into arthropods, head, thorax and abdomen. Head, thorax and abdomen is clearly distinct in the class Insecta. So that thoracic muscles, it enter into the thoracic muscles. In the thoracic muscles, they undergo first 2 moltings. First and second molting occurs. Most important. Here again I will recollect the first and second moltings occurs. 4 moltings in all nematodes life cycle. You can observe 4 moltings. Either Ascaris or Wuchereria bancrofti or Enterobius vermicularis or Trichinella spiralis or Ankylostoma duodenale. Any nematode parasite, 4 moltings are there. But areas of moltings may be changed from parasite to parasite. In Ascaris, first molting occurs where? Already we have very good moist soil. Second, third moltings occur in alveoli of lungs. Fourth molting occurs in small intestine of man. Yes, like that. Here in the thoracic muscles, please note down this point, very important. First two moltings occur. First and second moltings occurs. So after first molting, the so 1 minute after first molting, before first molting one thing happens, that should be written here. So in the midgut where sheath is lost, where the first stage larva developed in 2 days. First stage larva developed in 2 days. 2 days underline. 2 to 6 hours after infection, what happens? Sheath of it sets off its sheath. It loses its sheath. But in the 2 days, within 2 days, first stage larva developed in 2 days. That first stage larva is called sausage-shaped larva. So after first molting, second stage larva developed. Second stage. This is first stage larva is called saucer-like. Hence, this is called sausage larva. In the bracket, I have written there sausage-shaped larva. So that sausage-shaped larva undergo first molting to form second stage larva. And then after second molting, third stage larva is developed. After second molting, third stage larva. This is infective stage of filary worm to man. Third stage larva. At this stage, if mosquito bites and sucks the blood of a healthy humans, they enter into the human blood. So second molting, after second molting, third stage larva is developed. Third stage larva is, in the bracket I write down, elongated slender form. Elongated and slender. When the elongation occurs, automatically it becomes slender. So elongated slender form is the infective stage. Which is the infective stage of filarial worm to man. What is the infective stage of Ascaris? Yes, second stage rhabditiform larva. What is the infective stage of entamoeba to man? Entamoeba to man. You are forgetting, yesterday also I asked, tetranucleated cyst or quadranucleated cyst. At what stage it infects the humans? That stage is infective stage. And for the Plasmodium vivax, infective stage to man? Sporozoite. So don't forget about all the infective stages. Entamoeba, tetranucleated cyst, Plasmodium sporozoite, Ascaris lumbricoides, second stage rhabditiform larva, Wuchereria bancrofti, this third stage larva is elongated and slender form, which is the infective stage to man. So within 2 days it will be developed into first stage larva. First stage larva in the thoracic muscles undergo 2 moltings. After first molting, second stage larva. After second molting, third stage larva is formed. They are the infective stages to man. So This larva, this development occurs within 10 to 20 days. This development takes place in 10 to 20 days. So this numerical status don't forget. 10 to 24 days is the completion period of life cycle in mosquito of malarial parasite. Here 10 to 20 days this development takes place up to third stage, larva up to infective stage. So this infected mosquito bites this infected mosquito sucks the blood of healthy person. This infected mosquito sucks the blood of. Next page you go. If you go to the next page, last line is there. Life cycle is completed. Next, pathogenicity. Pathogenicity is critically discussed regarding Wuchereria bancrofti. Anyhow, we will see that later on. So this infected mosquito, when this infected mosquito with third stage larva sucks the blood of healthy man, what happens? They receive this infective stages. Healthy man. The infective stages enter into man. The infective stages dropped into blood of man. Dropped into blood of man. So where these infective stages till the mosquito sucks the blood of man, where they occur, which is the infective stage to man, waiting for main host, waiting in labium. Labium is a mouth part, lower lip. Lower lip of mosquito is called labium. Labium should not forget to mention. So till the man is available for sucking the blood, so these third stage larval forms are awaiting in the labium for the main host. So this development takes place in 10 to 10 days. This infected mosquito sucks the blood of a healthy man. The infective stages drop into the blood of man. From blood, they reach the lymph vessels. These infective stages, they reach the lymph vessels. So here the next step is in the lymph vessels. What happens, what step occurs, the lymph vessels reach the lymph vessels where the last two moultings occur. Already two moultings occur in the thoracic muscles of mosquito, first two moultings. Next two moultings where the third and fourth moultings occurs. Third and fourth moultings occur. Fourth moultings takes place. That is, after third moulting, fourth stage larva. After third moulting, fourth stage larva, and after fourth moulting, fifth stage larva developed. Fifth stage larva formed. That is, so this fifth stage larva develop into adult. It develops into adult. Final stage larva develops into adult. Develops into adult in 5 to 18 months. Again you have to note down this. Yesterday's Ascaris lumbricoides, 8 to 10 weeks. It is completed. This is 5 to 18 months. 5 to 18 months for Wuchereria. Okay. 8 to 10 weeks for Ascaris. And 10 to 24 days for Plasmodium vivax. You have to remember these periods. 5 to 18 months. That is completed. So with this life cycle of in mosquito this phase, in man the back phase, along with that larvae. So pathogenicity is very crucially discussed in 3 steps. Of course, simply in NEET book, NCERT book, it is given very simple. The swelling of extremities of body parts occurs called the filariasis. Filariasis is caused by which area? By simply it is given. Or elephantiasis is caused by. When you call it elephantiasis and when you call it filariasis, you must know. So for this, the pathogenicity we have to discuss in detail. First of all, light infection. During light infection, not heavy infection or severe infection, what happens? Let us see. Symptoms of light infection we must note down. The symptoms of light infection are fever, headache, mental depression, slightly mental depression also there, mental depression, and inflammation of lymph vessels, inflammation of lymphatic tissue, inflammation of lymph tissues, especially in the lymph tissues, lymph vessels and lymph glands. So this is asked for 2 marks question, 5th and 6th points. Inflammation of lymph vessels is called, see carefully remember this terminology, not given in the NCERT, only given in the academic book. Inflammation of lymph vessels, lymph glands also there, lymph vessels called, what do you know? Lymphangitis. Lymphangy means lymph vessels. Angy refers to vessels. Even blood vessels also angiology, a branch deals with the study of blood vessels. Like that, lymphangitis means lymph vessels. Tis means manta. Manta in Telugu, we call it in English inflammation, burning sensation. That is lymphangitis. First symptom in this light infection also. And second symptom is inflammation of lymph glands. Inflammation of lymph glands. So last paragraph we are discussing in the academy book. Last paragraph this is. So inflammation of, with this the major parasites we have completed. The other diseases we will discuss tomorrow. So inflammation of lymph glands, that they are lymph vessels, these are lymph glands. So as we have added this gland term, that's why inflammation of lymph glands called, it is known as, what is that you know? Lymphadenitis. Adeno means gland. That's why it is called lymphadenitis. Lymphangitis and lymphadenitis are the primary symptoms of the Wuchereria bancrofti. This symptom cannot be identified by humans, that they are going to attack with filariasis, they cannot identify. But generally in favor, all the lymph vessels, blood vessels, everything in the inside, we know that that inflammation, we can feel that sensation. But this sensation is belonging to what is that, filariasis? Nobody knows. Nobody can identify in the light infection. So lymphangitis and lymphadenitis, these two are important for 2 marks. 2 marks question. And then let us go to the next, heavy infection. During heavy infection, what happens? Let us see. Symptoms must be known. They block the lymph vessels. Blockage of lymph vessels. When lymph vessels are blockage of lymph vessels by dead worms, some larval forms also die. Adult worms also die. So those dead worms are blocking the lymph vessels. Blockage of lymph vessels by dead worms occur in the heavy infection because number of filarial worms increases. in the lymph vessels. Some of them die. So these dead worms totally obstruct the passage of lymph circulation. Blockage of lymph vessels by dead worms occur. So this leads to the accumulation of, this is most important point, this leads to the accumulation of water or lymph in the tissues. Lymph is nothing but watery fluid. Accumulation of, already we have discussed about the lymph in the formed elements, fluid connective tissue, blood and lymph. This leads to the accumulation of lymph or fluids in the tissues. In the tissues that causes the swelling of body parts. Causes the swelling of body parts. Swelling of body parts like limbs. Just mention those body parts. Not all body parts are swollen. Body parts like limbs means lower limbs especially. Lower limbs means our legs. Like limbs, generally filariasis affect the legs mainly. Even if it is males, scrotum also, where the testes are located. Our male gonads are located in this area. Scrotum also enlarges. And if it is scrotum in males, say like that. And mammae in females, mammary glands also enlarge. Mammae in females. Normal enlargement of mammary glands is different from this enlargement. Clearly it can be known. Mammae in females, scrotum in males, and limbs. These are all extremities of body parts. They are swollen. So, and causes any edema. Lymphedema. This symptom is called lymphedema. This is also given for 2 marks. Lymphedema. Lymphangitis, lymphadenitis, lymphedema. Lymphangitis, lymphadenitis occur in the light infections, and lymphedema occurs in the heavy infection. And fibroblasts also activate during the heavy infection. Fibroblasts also are activated to produce pathogenicity 4 marks question, are activated to produce fibers, more fibers. To produce more fibers. That leads to fibrosis in the affected areas. Fibrosis in the affected areas. So this is also another important symptom during heavy infection in the affected areas. This is heavy infection. And lastly, you keep heading here, severe infection. Up to this filariasis. Now we are discussing about elephantiasis. During severe infection, what happens? Light infection, heavy infection, severe infection. You keep headings like this when we discuss about the pathogenicity. So, severe infection. During severe infection, what happens? The sweat glands disintegrate. Sweat glands lose their function. Means disintegration. Disintegration means they almost degenerate. The sweat glands disintegrate in the affected areas. This is the symptom of elephantiasis, final stage. Symptom of elephantiasis, that is nothing but final stage. Disintegrate in the affected areas, and the skin becomes dry. The skin also becomes dry, and that leads to breakage of skin. That leads to breakage of skin. Skin also breaks. So, like elephant leg. See elephant leg, closely observe. Some lines are there. Like that it looks like. Our limbs look like. So, skin becomes dry. That leads to breakage. So, nobody can come to your rescue if you reach this final stage. Nobody can stop. Even God cannot come to our rescue to control this disorder. So, skin becomes dry. That leads to the breakage of skin. So, this final stage is called elephantiasis. The severe infection is nothing but elephantiasis. This is final stage is called elephantiasis. Then only you should say elephantiasis. These symptoms, disintegration of sweat glands and dryness of skin leads to breakage, are the symptoms of elephantiasis. Generally, people say filariasis and elephantiasis are both one and the same. Okay, both one and the same almost, caused by Wuchereria bancrofti. So this final stage is called elephantiasis. Prophylaxis, same as that of malarial control. Prophylaxis same like malaria. Need not discuss. Medical control. Medical control only here we should add. Same as malaria. Malaria control. Gambusia affinis, larvivorous fish can be introduced. Utricularia can be introduced because these are also mosquitoes. Their breeding place. Pyrethrum can be sprayed. The kerosene also can be sprayed. DDT, Gamaxin, BHC. All these are same. But as far as medical control is concerned, heterogen drug is given. Heterogen cures the filariasis in the preliminary stages. Cures only filariasis, not elephantiasis. You remember this point. Cures only filariasis. Swelling is a little swelling occurs, suppose. Then immediately you go to the blood test after 10 o'clock in the night, because they move in the peripheral circulation of blood only during night time. That's why the blood is collected by health inspectors during night time. They visit our houses, filaria affected areas, and take the blood, collect the blood. If it is in the preliminary stage, these tablets can be used. Heterogen tablets cures filariasis. Daily 3 tablets. Daily 3 tablets, 3 pills. And up to 3 weeks. Means 21 days. Must use this. That is heterogen. Already I told you about Yallapragada Subbarao, a famous biochemist. Okay, Pillalu, almost we have completed. Tomorrow diagram I will give you. Almost we have completed the 5 essay questions, 8 marks questions. Very important for 8 marks, 4 marks, 2 marks, and NEET, MCET, all purposes, multi-purpose. So I can stop share. Can end the class. Thank you. Happy Vinayak Chavati. Happy, happy, okay, happy Vinayak Chavati to all of you.